to our stories of the day, and these are some of the stories we'll be tracking in the SABC News Diary. Now, according to figures released by the Health Ministry last night, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in South Africa has risen to 2,272, and the total number of deaths now stands at 27.
And as usual, for more information on the coronavirus, members of the public are urged to call the 24-hour hotline on 0800 029 999. You can also add the official government COVID-19 support service on WhatsApp. That's 0600 123 456.
And moving on to our trending topics now, we start with hashtag CelebritiesAreNotTeachers. Okay.
This one got a lot of tongues wagging, didn't it?
It certainly did. It certainly did.
It started from the morning and then it carried on through the day and the night, and it just, people were not happy with seeing this. They just felt that this was, it was in poor taste, especially in terms of the fact that we have so many teachers that are more than adequate to do this and more than qualified to do this, and yet they hire celebrities to do this, and we were not happy at all. A lot of people speaking out against this one. So, I don't know if you've got a couple of them in front of you, Sakina, as to how people were feeling and what they had to say about this particular trend.
Well, I'm just trying to call that up because I didn't quite look at what people were actually saying, but just to look at a few. And this one here, for example, Leanne from Retired Makoti says, I may be a last-born, but I'm a qualified teacher, B.Ed foundation phase, pursuing my second qualification in inclusive education and shortlisted 3 times for HOD. I'm charismatic and adore the little ones. This profession is my calling. I'm here to serve. And many of those are by teachers coming out. And Kucho says, please respect my profession. I'm a qualified, experienced physical science and mathematics teacher, grades 8 to 12. I hold a BSc chemistry and a PGCE. Hashtag celebrities are not teachers. And Kusol says, I've been teaching English for 17 years in FET, producing excellent results, and the government shows faith in celebrities.
Yes.
So
it's huge.
It's massive.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, I even saw here another one SATU putting out, that's the Teachers Union. The Department of Basic Education never consulted with SATU about plans to hire celebrities to teach. We totally reject any plan that seeks to undermine the teaching profession. So this one backfired in the department's face. But now, I know there are a lot of different role players involved in all of this, but I suspect that the buck stops at the Department of Education because, it does fall under them. So we in fact have got the department not necessarily talking to this story, but that are coming to talk to us about other issues, and perhaps maybe we can ask, what the thought process behind this actually was, and maybe we're missing something.
If I can just pull the other way and be a bit controversial, and controversial because I'm going to tell the truth as I know it about this particular thing.
Good.
And yes, there's been this backlash that's been absolutely out there, but this is not a department initiative per se. This is an NGO, and what they are saying is they are trying to get to inculcate that culture of reading. So what they've done is they've gone and they've got these well-known South Africans, these celebrities, if you will, to actually read books to children, and be it in English or in whatever vernacular language that particular celebrity speaks and reads. So this is what that is about. Yes, it is endorsed by the Department of Education, but it is not about these celebrities teaching children. That's not what it is. It's about reading a book. So Leanne can read a book. I remember at WITS you would read for the blind students, and that would be made available to them. And I'm not saying this is the same thing, but it could be likened to that. So it's literally about these celebrities reading to children. That's my understanding of it.
All right. Well,
And does that make a difference to you in any way?
I'd
love to hear from the viewers. Does that make a difference?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that too. I'm not too familiar with it. At least you know more about the campaign. But I just, the backlash has been quite severe. So it would be interesting to hear from people how they do feel about it, and still to ask the department exactly about the details about it. But nonetheless, that was a big talking point, and now you know why. Let's have a look at a couple of the other talking points. ProfKarim, and he gave us a phenomenal briefing last night, to say the least. People were so impressed with what came out of Professor Karim and what he was saying in terms of where we're at in South Africa, and the different trajectories and how unique South Africa is, with provisional data showing that government measures to slow down the infection rate actually are working. And this was important for South Africans to actually see what's happening behind the scenes and to really get an idea of where South Africa is. We sort of almost just rely on what we're told, but we don't know the actual methodology that goes into it behind the scenes. Well, last night we were let into a bit of that methodology, and very much so from you heard it in the news, and also Professor Karim saying if we did not enter into the lockdown when we did, we could very much so have faced the same situation that's happening in Italy, that's happening in the US, that's happening all over the world. That the reality is that we haven't escaped it. It is still a very sensitive and difficult situation, but we are acting fast and we're putting out fires. We're going to find the fires as opposed to waiting for the fires to start and then rushing to them. We're putting them out before they start. But he did warn that this is with us for a very, very long time, and don't think that by the end of the lockdown that we've got in now, it's all going to disappear and life is going to resume. It's not. We're in it for the long haul. So it was a very enlightening one. I know that the presentation is, I'm sure, online. You can watch it if you haven't. It's well worth your while to check.
Indeed.
It out.
And perhaps just to bottom line that one, we saw Dr. Willem Kize, the National Minister of Health, emerging as a leader and very much a hero in terms of how this COVID-19 pandemic has been handled. And last night, I think another hero emerged for the South African public in Professor Karim.
Yeah, very, very much so. It was great to listen to him. It really was.
Let's go to the next one. Hashtag SignThePetition SA. And this is to sign the petition to actually have liquor stores open.
To have them open?
I'm not laughing. You take it, Leanne.
No, but hang on, wait. I thought it was the opposite way around. Are we signing a petition to open?
Let me just be. You speak to what you understood. I thought it was to open it.
Okay, let me see this. It says, let us not sign that petition. Alcohol is not essential. Other businesses are suffering too. Follow me and I will follow you back. Oh, gee, one of those. What is this? Is this signed petition to have... No, I'm trying to figure this out. So people are actually more worried about alcohol than saving lives. I think you're right.
Yes,
I think people have started a petition to unban the sale of alcohol.
That's what they wanted, and people were responding, citing all sorts of reasons why that isn't, the brightest idea.
No, that's not the brightest idea. Okay, wow, all right, not a problem. So people are desperate to have alcohol sold. If we can put just a sobering thought, and to use the alcoholic term, it is not normal times that we're going through. And I was listening to quite an interesting interview on my way into work from a representative from the Department of Health, and as to why alcohol sales should not be lifted at a time like this, because I think today is the day, or is it tomorrow? I'm not sure. My days are all mixed up, that the president has to respond to the demands to have the ban on alcohol sales lifted.
Today.
I think it is today.
Yes.
Otherwise they go to court. And he was saying, it's not about alcohol. It's not about the fact that drinking is going to make you sick. It's about the fact that drinking impairs your way of thinking, and that what you're going to do when you're drunk is not necessarily what you're going to do when you're sober. And this is the problem. It's to try and have sober-minded people thinking responsibly and not irresponsibly. And I can honestly understand that. I really, really can, from government's perspective. They are doing their best to save lives, and we saw that last night. We've seen that every single day since the start of this. They're doing all they can. All they're asking for is our help, to try and get through this. And, you know, going out and having a couple of drinks with friends, it'll happen, but not right now. Not right now. But that's all I can say about that.
Indeed. All right, quickly, the last one we have is hashtag SophieNdaba. And she, of course, made her name in the Sophie generations. And then she wasn't well for a while. And she's now on a series called Lockdown. So yesterday, people were just talking about her acting ability and saying she's absolutely phenomenal, out of this world.
Wow.
So that's why SophieNdaba is trending.
And she deserves it, because so many people have been talking about her in not necessarily the nicest ways, all about her weight loss and saying she's sick, and the amount of times we've heard that Sophie has passed on, and then she comes out and says, will you guys just stop this, please? I am fine. And, you know, she hasn't been well with diabetes, but now coming through and, you know, shutting the haters up. Love it. Well done, Sophie. You keep going. It's a fantastic, fantastic series and a performance by her that is worthy of all the accolades. So great. There you go. That wraps up our trending topics.